Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. A couple big things I want to tell you about. January 14th, I returned to Naked Vine with my singer-songwriter storytelling showcase. This is a monthly show I do out in Chesterfield, Missouri. 3 writers sitting on stools, playing acoustic, sharing the stories behind your favorite songs. January 14th, I'll have out there Ethan Jones, Chris Kurd, and Lisa Houday. So don't miss out. It's going to be an amazing night. 7 o'clock start, $10 at the door. And if you haven't been to Naked Vine yet, you're missing out. This is a true hidden gem out there. They call it the best county bar, or best city bar in the county. And if you check it out, come out there, nakedvine.net for everything. Follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But you can come out on January 10th and see my buddies Dustin Arbuckle and the Damnations from Kansas City out there. Faithful Strays will be there January 11th. And starting in 2020 now, they are doing vinyl spin every Thursday evening. So starting on January 16th will be their first vinyl spin night. So come out to that. Friday night, January 17th, the Scandaleros take the stage. And the Vega Brothers Band on Saturday, January 18th. Again, everything at nakedvine.net. Also, big thanks to Heil Sound for their support. Recording this intro today on my PR40 from Heil. I absolutely love this microphone. So check it out at heilsound.com today. Get yourself some new gear. Check it out. Also, big thank you to my good buddies over at Roughneck Beard Company. I've been sponsoring the show for a while now. Very proud to have them a part of it. If you haven't stopped by the shop, they are located on Manchester Road in Maplewood, Missouri. Swing by and take a look at what they got. They've all sorts of different products, from your beard oils and tattoo balm and a beard balm and junk powder and just whatever you need for your grooming necessities. So check it all out at roughneckbeardcompany.com. Also, American Rambler products are located in there as well. So it's all under one roof. And for your convenience, you can find it all at roughneckbeardcompany.com. Shop 24/7. Enter my code RPP15 during checkout for an exclusive 15% off. All right, that's it for me. Feel free to email me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions or you'd be interested in a hat or a shirt. Also, heads up, new stocking caps on the way from Rock Paper Podcast, so just in time for the winter. So anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy this new episode. Have a great day, everybody.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Thomas Isaac Walton, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
This is beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats is the Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
Double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Thomas Isaac Walton.
What's up, guys?
Hey, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. This is cool. I'm glad to be here. I feel like I've been starting every one of these this way lately. which is cool that it continues to happen. But this show allows me opportunities to sit down with people doing cool stuff around our neighborhood and allow to actually have a conversation and stuff. So like that's what's kind of fun about this is like we've kind of been friendly. We've run into each other at shows and stuff, but never really got a chance to properly sit down and hang out and talk. So
and BS.
Yeah, so this allows us to do that and get to talk about some of your music and everything you've been a part of. So I guess I like to like kind of start these like kind of your origin story sort of thing. I guess so. I guess always
where I was created.
Yeah, always grew up around the St. Louis area.
Yeah, I actually grew up in North St. Louis around Bell Fountain, Spanish Lake, and lived there until I was about a sophomore in high school, and moved to a little small podunk country town. Went from like 900 graduation class to a 25 graduation class.
Whoa!
So culture shock. And then from there, I finished high school in a smaller town, and then I moved to Colorado to do college. I hated it. I left there and started playing music, and kind of went from there. I was playing music before I went to college, but actually playing and doing it, that's whenever I kind of started.
Yeah. So you didn't start, you didn't like really get into it until after college then, I guess?
Yeah. So I've had music my whole life in me. I had a guitar at a young age. My dad was a musician, and when he passed, I kind of just picked it up and went with it when I was about 13.
Okay.
And did a lot, played a lot, traveled a little bit, and then wanted to go to school for it, and I was talked out of it. Said, you'll never make money in the music industry. Go do something with robots.
All right.
So I went into college for avionics engineering and was like, this isn't for me. I got to get music back going. So left college, came back to St. Louis, started a band, and with a couple buddies I grew up with. And then a couple bands later, Seeing Seven started.
Okay. Yeah. That's so I guess when we first started, well, actually we should say this is episode 777.
That's right, buddy.
Which we picked out for Seeing Seven, which
yes, sir.
Yeah, so we thought that would be fun. And but yeah, we talked so you have there's Seeing Seven, but you also do solo stuff, and we also have your production side. So we got a lot to cover. But I like to kind of get into your songwriting because and you're a great guitar player too. But like I said, I'm guessing you said you got the guitar from your dad.
Yeah. When I was real young, I would say like 11 or 12. Well, actually, even younger than that. He gave me a guitar, but he didn't have enough patience to teach me.
Yeah.
So he's like, you can't learn guitar, you're going to learn drums. So he bought me a drum set for Christmas. So then I became a drummer. When he passed, or right before he passed, I went with him to buy this Fender Telecaster at Dale's Music in Hazelwood. And when he passed, I ended up just taking that guitar and making it mine and toured the country with it, played all over. I still have it, hangs on the wall now.
Yeah.
But I was a guitar player. You know, I played with Gabe Stroop.
Sure. Shout out to Gabe.
Yeah.
Good friend of the show.
Played with him. I played with a couple of different people out of St. Louis back in the SDL punk days and the MySpace days. And then as Facebook was coming around and MySpace was dying, like I was kind of falling out of the industry a little bit, trying to make some money. And, but yeah, music has always been involved, and I really started in guitar, and I didn't really start singing and writing until Seeing Seven came as a creative vision. And
you are the
singer,
lead vocalist,
guitar player. Then my brother, which we're at his house, he's the bass player. And then I have original founder was Joe Gann as a drummer. He's no longer playing with us. Kerry LaChance took over his position, who played with a band called Sulphur Silver for a long time. And then Dan Crocker is the other guitar player who was also in Sulphur Silver and came in. We had a guy named Jim Draper, who was a mutual friend with Gabe and I, who played guitar with me originally. So it was like me and my brother have been the original founders, and we've stuck through it, and we've gone through a couple different changes, but we're working on our 4th album, and in the middle of it, over 2 years in the middle of it, because just life, everybody has stuff going on, and if I'm not recording somebody else, I barely have time to record my own stuff. So
Right. So for anybody that wants to discover some Seeing Seven, it is all available digitally.
Absolutely.
You can stream it all over your Spotify or wherever you're getting your music today, and there's some videos and stuff too on your YouTube account. So which I was doing a little deep dive on my drive down here, listening to some of that stuff, and it sounded really good. So,
appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, our first album we did with Jason McIntyre at Sawhorse.
Yeah, Jason's one of the best, man. Like,
I love that dude.
He really talented guy.
Yeah. And we released that on 7/7 of 2007.
Oh, all right.
And that was our first one. And then our second album, we hooked up with my business partner now, Dustin Bannister. He was an engineer. He's going through school. He worked out of Fat Buddha. And we recorded our second album with him. He was a connection through our drummer originally. And after that album, me and him kind of talked and decided to create a business together. So the third album was recorded at our studio again, and we're working on our 4th album in our full-on production facility now, full studio.
Very cool, man. Well, let's get into somebody. So obviously you're still working on that, and you're writing with Seeing Seven, but lately you've also been working on just some solo stuff, and you put out a single not long ago under just your name, and so Thomas Isaac Walton, also available digitally everywhere. But you have a single out there called for a Pulse and a Blindside.
Yeah.
Which we did do live acoustic here in the basement here, and which was turned out really nice, and a couple special guests on also.
My bastard nephews.
So I think they were maybe playing some percussion on those dog bones. But this beautiful song though, man. Like, in the recording online also is really well done, and
thank you.
But I feel like this is probably a lot of personal ties in this song, like just kind of judging by some of the lyric content and things. And
every song that I write, whether it's for Seeing Seven, which Seeing Seven is a vision, it's a big story. And the big vision for that, just to go off sidetrack for a second, is to have a movie that is played in 7 different segments, and it's one big storyline, and all of the music ties together. So it's kind of a musical journey, but it is going to be a movie someday. We just have to get everything in order and get everything in line, and we now have the tools to do it. We just have to have the time to do it. But all of the writing that's around in that, even though that's a story, there's so many layers of emotional things throughout my life, or through different things that I've experienced with friends or, lovers or whatever. And, when I'm not working on that particular project due to scheduling with the other 3 people that are involved, I'm writing for myself, because as a creative person, you have to have that outlet. And everything that I write, I try to write in a vague enough sense to where you as a listener, or even me as a listener, I could get multiple things out of it. Some type of a meaning to myself. It could be a meaning for you. And then, I try not to just blatantly come out and say what I'm trying to say. It's more of a puzzle. Mm-hmm. But, I'm learning as a writer that more people don't care about the puzzle. They just want to be told what it is.
Sure.
And I'm still stuck to making it a puzzle. So that's maybe why I'm not a famous writer.
Well, I think there's fun in both of those. I mean, so I do this monthly singer-songwriter show, and that's part of the fun of that show is the storytelling, and some people take it into the fact that they have to tell you like literally everything, and it's all open to interpretation. It doesn't necessarily even have to be about the song necessarily, but you can tell a story about, hey, I was here when I wrote this song, or whatever it is, the story pertaining around the surrounding of the song, or whatever it might be, something kind of interesting to it, I think. And but I really enjoy like some of that, and the behind the scenes type of thing, and kind of
absolutely.
And so. But I do enjoy like a story with it, but I don't always necessarily need to be told this is exactly what it was about, because sometimes like it does take away from what maybe a story I created with it, So
Absolutely.
So there's both there's both of it, It's like there's a fine line where, so
Yeah.
it depends on the circumstances. I think just each song calls for a different thing, but sometimes it's nice when it's kind of spelled out for you, and then other times it's nice to kind of come up with your own story that you created, when you hear these songs and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, as I've evolved as a writer, I've come to find that I have to figure out a concept, essentially like what I'm trying to describe that other people would really understand, and then have my own meanings inside of each lyric or line, and even for me as a writer of the music aspect of it as well, like certain things within the music mean things to me too, like a hi-hat in a certain spot, or a crash in a certain spot, or a certain note in certain spots. It's all telling one story, and it's all one painting. So I'm the type of person who appreciates much more than just the lyrics of a song or the guitar of a song. Like, to me, a song is, they all speak in their own way.
Right.
And it has to be everything that's involved in it. But I'm a deep thinker like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've, there's definitely, I know people that like gravitate more towards the instrumentation of music, and I've always been of the type that I connect to a lot to lyrics of. Like I said, I've always been a fan of these songwriters and storytellers and stuff in that sense. So like I love a lot of the folk and country type of stuff about it. Yeah. So just because like those guys are great storytellers in their music and stuff. So
there's nothing better than a great hook.
Yeah.
Or a great story.
Sure.
As a writer, I absolutely appreciate those guys. There are those songs out there I'm like, man, I wish I would have thought that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's always about, for me as a writer, what is it that I want out of it? Mm-hmm. Do I care about what my audience thinks? Yeah, a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's all about if I'm happy with it.
Yeah. But I agree, like with what, especially in A Pulse and A Blindside, like I felt like exactly what you were saying. I felt like you captured that, because like it is just like a piece of art. Like as a whole, you kind of get lost in the mood of the music, and you're not really like focusing. Like the lyrics are great, but like overall, like it's just it's a piece of work, the whole thing. So.
I'll beat my own hook and I'll string my own line. Every now and again I might get a bite, as I prepare myself to put up a fight. With every good hit, you're on my mind. With a pulse and a blindside, I leave it all on the line. Just a pulse and a blindside. I hope you're the one I catch tonight. The moon starts to shine, shooting stars align. Well, I'm reeling slack just to keep the line tight. No matter how long it takes for you to strike, and I'll wait here for you throughout the night. With a pulse and a blindside, I leave it all on the line. Just a pulse and a blindside. I hope you're the one I catch tonight. I hope you're the one I catch tonight.
It's nice. It's very peaceful and relaxing. And that was like, there was some of the lyrics they're talking about, especially in the opening where he says like, I bait my own hook and
I string my own line.
Yeah, so like you're kind of picturing like a fishing kind of lake, and like it's just kind of a calm, peaceful. This is what I start painting the picture in my mind.
Yeah,
just like you kind of sitting on a bank and kind of maybe like a dark starry night or something like kind of thing, and kind of get some of the bullfrogs or whatever, different ambience noise,
cicadas and all the other stuff out there.
So that's what, like, I love when music can kind of do that to me, like where I can kind of start painting this picture in my mind of what it is and stuff. And
hey man, I appreciate that you're able to paint that picture.
Yeah,
that's the struggle of every artist. Is we want people to pay attention, right? At the end of the day, we do it for ourselves, but we want people to pay attention. And as an artist for myself, like I'm big into like soundscapes, put me in an environment, put me in that place. And then that story is going to tell me all about what's happening in that place. The music is the environment and the lyrics are the story.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You, so when, kind of get into your production sides too, you've been doing like, I think, you recorded with Gabe too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Some Skyburnt White stuff.
Yeah, we did some Skyburnt White stuff. I know those guys came down in the early stages of our studio. They came and worked with us a little bit, and then they came back in right before Mario left.
Okay.
They came back in and did a song.
Yeah.
And I've known Gabe since the Midwest Music Pit in Wentzville,
sure.
Back in the day. And me and him connected because I appreciate his writing, the way that he writes, and I appreciate his voice. And,
I think you guys come at it a very similar approach to music and stuff. Like,
yeah, we just connect that way.
Right.
We're like musical brothers.
Yeah.
I don't get to see him as much anymore, but it's one of those things where we'll always have that connection. And from the moment that we met, we knew that there was this musical connection, and we were able to write, and we toured together for a while, played together in bands. And then, we both also want to do it our way. So it's one of those things where back then we didn't know what compromise was. At least I didn't. And we just had to separate. And I actually came in and it was in the beginning stages of Skyburnt White as a guitar player too. But with everything that I have going on, right. I told him, man, I need to bow out, and he took it respectfully. And
sure. But I guess moving into like a production role, like allows you to like continue to
grow,
help other upcoming artists to paint that soundscape and stuff. And
we so Dustin Bannister and we started Blue Creek Production about 6 years ago. He's a master engineer. I do more visual, but I'm also a musician, and we started based off of music. So I'm a music producer as well. I'm not an engineer at his level. He always mixes and masters my final stuff that I do for myself. But we have been just blessed by the amount of local talent from St. Louis to Memphis, and even outside of that have come and recorded with us, and we've been able to work with and produce. And we've had a forte in the country genre.
You worked with Jonathan
Brady. Yeah.
Another friend of the show.
Yeah, Jonathan. We worked with a bunch of different artists, and we've just been blessed by it. And just me being there full time, involved with him as an engineer, I've learned a lot on the production side, and then I do the videos, side. So I did Jonathan Brady's music videos, a couple other music videos for other artists, Maggie Thorne, the Holler Boys, there's tons of them.
Right.
And Laura Black Wines, which hers did pretty well. But we really do it because we're creative people, and we love working with artists and just letting them come into what we've created, an atmosphere. And we bring them into our studio and we just let them be creative. We don't charge an hourly rate. We just do a flat fee and say, however long it takes for the song to become what it is, that's how long it takes.
Yeah.
And people love it. And it's a country location. We're out in the middle of 2,000 acres, out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by cattle and deer and turkey and everything else in the hills of southern Missouri. But that's the escape, that's where people go and they can become creative. So we've had rock bands, we've had country bands, and we just enjoy working with all of them.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
I think Gabe told me a story like during like the Sick Love era when he they went and got a cabin in the woods or something like that and wrote a whole record in a weekend or something like that and and there's something to that. I mean, they're not the only ones with that story, but there's something to being just the escape from the grind for your day, the job, the city and everything, and then going out there where there are no more distractions and you can just kind of
focus,
let your mind focus on what you're the project and then create and stuff. So
yeah, and that's that's what every artist wants, is a place that they can feel free, and a place where they can be creative. And, we strived our best to create that type of atmosphere for our people. And we still have the doors open, 6 years in, and we're blessed by it. So,
and then, so we can find everything Blue Creek, on.
Yeah. Blue Creek Production. We actually have a website, bluecreekproduction.com. There's some videos up there about kind of what we do and who we are, because we handle, everybody asks us if we're a record label because we do so much, and we're like, no, man, we're not a record label. You own yourself, right? But we can help an artist from the, production of the music to getting videos done, some content. We can do lyric videos. We can do all of your graphic design, all of your artwork. We actually have a screen printing business. So if you need t-shirts done or merchandising done, we have connections in that industry for any type of merchandising that you need. I mean, we've kind of set up shop to be able to be a one-stop shop for an artist, and every artist, at some point becomes a business. So we then turned into helping out businesses. So what's great for us is we learned what businesses require in order to move their marketing and get heard and get seen. So we've learned a few tricks of this is what it takes. A lot of it is money, right? Unfortunately, but this is what you could do in order to get your name out there and help you get to that level. We've been blessed to have a couple of records that went to a Grammy level. Never made the final ballot, but they made it to the top 100 and went pretty far in there. So we got some Grammy recognition. And then on the independent level, there's a place called the Josie Music Show, and she does Josie Music Awards, and it's the largest independent artist recognition that there is. And I think there's somewhere around 7,000 or 8,000 members. There was 40,000 submissions this year, and we took Production Company of the Year.
Oh, very cool.
Jonathan Brady Band became Rising Star Entertainer of the Year in the country music. We had an album become Outlaw Country of the Year. We've had Album of the Year last year. And in that independent world, we've had a lot of great artists that we've been able to work with get a lot of recognition. So that's helping drive what we do as well. But yeah, at the end of the day, we just want to help artists become what they want to do. You know, that's what we want to do, right?
Yeah, definitely. Very cool, man. Yeah, I remember seeing, now that you said it, I remember seeing a little red carpet type of picture with you and the award and everything, and Jonathan and stuff. So yeah, very cool, man. Yeah,
they do it up down there. They used to be in Nashville, and they moved to Dollywood, and that has become their new home for their show. And they packed that place, and it's like a mini Grammy.
Right.
You know, it's not at that level yet because Grammys is the highest you can get. But for an independent artist, it's a huge honor.
Yeah, man.
And I recommend any artists that listen to your thing, look into it and get involved because they do so much for independent artists. It's unreal.
Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to win a couple of awards doing this show, and like, regardless of whoever it comes from, it always feels good to get some kind of recognition like that, to where like somebody's saying you're doing something right, you know. So yeah, feels good, man. But production studio of the year, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, it was definitely an honor, and you know, just like our speech said, if it wasn't for the artists that we work with, we wouldn't get any of that, you know. So as long as artists keep trying to be creative and put out new material, you know, we'll continue to be a strive. Yeah, man.
Well, let's drop in another tune. We did a couple down here in the basement, some live acoustic jamming, and this is one that not released yet, but will be hitting the internet soon.
Soon, yeah.
A song called "Not a Love Song."
Not a love song.
Which also might feature some special guests in this recording as well.
Yep.
But
as I take a leap of faith, pray for no mistakes, 'cause I know I'm bound to fall. Seems I'll never impress you with a love song or two, 'cause turns out that you hate them all. So this is not a love song, just a lovely song for you. Maybe I'll get to write a love song someday with you. Like ice in a glass, empty, begging for whiskey, 'cause I know you'll melt me down. Try not to annoy you, am tempted to be smooth, 'cause I need at least one more round. So this is not a love song, just a lovely song for you. Maybe I'll get to write a love song someday
beautiful song, though, man. Anything you want to talk about this one?
Thank you. This song is relatively new. We just finished drums up yesterday and bass up and did a couple things. As far as the writing process on this one, it came from a conversation with like the most beautiful woman I've ever met in my life. And I sent her a song. Well, actually how it worked out is I sent her like a message that said that she had me speechless because of how beautiful she was. And as I was sending this message, I walked into a Walmart and the song "Speechless" by Dan and Shay comes on the intercom system. So it's like this weird little, oh, that's a weird connection, you know? So like the next day, the song came on the radio, and I never really listened to the radio, but it came up again, and I was like, this is weird. So I sent her the song and said, well, I'd like the YouTube link to it through Messenger, and I was like, this made me think of you today because for some reason it just keeps showing up. And she responded and said, I hate that song. So it's one of those things where I thought I was being smooth, you know, and it came out really bad.
Right.
So I was like, shot in the foot. I was like, is there anything else? You know, sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up. Maybe it was a bad song. I don't know. She's like, no, I just hate all love songs. So it inspired me to write a song that wasn't a love song, but I wanted it to be beautiful, you know, and kind of speak to this little conversation that we've been having. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of where that song came from.
Yeah. I like, there's been definitely like a lot of, you know, or various forms, but like, I like when that it sounds like a love song, but it's not a love song. And then like, there's like a lot of the, like, I like when a song is about being a song, you know, it's like that kind of thing. Like there's other, I can't think of examples right now, but there's just, you know, like,
greatest song in the world.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Like, but, there's this is not the greatest song in the world.
Yeah.
That's oh man, Tenacious D. Those guys are some of the best.
Heck yeah.
Kyle was here not too he was at played the old Rock House like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And really bummed I missed it. He played just the Kyle Gas Band.
Yeah.
But I imagine it was a lot of fun just to get to hang with him too.
I saw him at the Creepy Crawl.
Oh yeah.
A long time ago.
Nice.
And I was a Tenacious D fan from back on HBO days.
Oh, yeah.
So it was interesting to be there.
I have the complete box set or whatever from the HBO series, and then when I was hosted, I get invited to host every now and then, like some of these different rock shows and stuff, and I always want to do like those Paul F. Tompkins reads and stuff. When this next band, this asked me to read this, and you know it's like if Molly Hatchet and Black Sabbath had sex, and this is their two-headed baby, Tenacious, stuff like that. Like,
just off the wall.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's entertaining though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
but they those guys are great though, man. But yeah, I didn't get to see him at Creepy Crawl, but I got to see him at the pageant, and it was pretty cool to experience. I actually met him at Vintage Vinyl before the show, and I got my
cool.
Vinyl Rise of the Phoenix signed, and
sweet. That'd been a trip.
Yeah, so it was cool to they weren't allowing pictures just because there were so many people they were trying to get through the line, but I was cool to just get a moment to say hey to Jack and Kyle, and so and then they rocked the show, and there was so it was for the Rise of the Phoenix tour, so they had this giant phoenix, which if you're not familiar or forget about that album cover, it just looks like a giant penis with wings.
Yeah. And
they spell Phoenix like to where with
Phoenix.
Yeah, right. So it's like it's not,
and it looks like penis almost.
Yeah, and then like so, and at the end of the night, the Phoenix kind of like pulled down its head a little bit, and then sprayed the crowd with these little paper sperms all over. That was like their big finale.
Yeah.
And then deflated, and then like so their encore, that they come like back out, and at this point now the Phoenix looks like a big vagina. And like there was like a big, opening, and they come out of it, and like, and they were like, "Whoa, it's hot in there," or something like that. And it was pretty damn funny.
The epitome of rock entertainment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those guys are definitely entertainers.
Yeah, man.
In every sense of the word. So, A big fan of what they do. And I think we're supposed to be getting another Tenacious D tour or something like that. I think there's...
They've been doing some promotion.
Yeah.
I've been seeing them show up a lot more lately. So I think they're starting to do some more work, probably touring and stuff.
Yep. But yeah, those guys are a ton of fun. So, yeah. I always kind of like to get into like some of your, I know it's kind of cliche, but some of your influences and stuff, because you have a unique approach to some of the stuff with like, especially your guitar playing and like you just like obviously Seeing Seven's a pretty rock influenced band, but your solo acoustic stuff has a lot of soulfulness to it and stuff. And
yeah, I don't know how to genre my personal stuff.
Yeah. I feel like it almost kind of into that, I don't know how you feel about it, but like, kind of, and he covers all kinds of ground too, but got guy like almost like some John Mayer stuff or whatever, like kind of that.
Yeah. That makes me feel good, actually.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he's one, I think he's one of the best. Like, I mean, some people,
I agree,
but like the fact that he's able to, I mean, he's done it all. Like, he's done pop music, rock music, blues, toured with Grateful Dead, and was whatever. Like, he's done it.
I would say he was an influence of mine. Not as much lyrically, but the fact that he would break into a blues breakdown, that showed me that you could do pretty much anything you wanted as a musician.
Yeah.
How he played and sang, that's kind of an influence as well. Where I really got my rock influence, I would say lyrically, I learned a lot from Gabe, and then I always admired like a Maynard from A Perfect Circle and Tool, just because of how he wrote. And then musically, I'm all over the map. Yeah. On a rock scale, I always tried to, I'm a big, huge fan of Coheed and Cambria. I'm a big fan of Dredge. I'm a big fan of Circus Survive. And then I'm also into heavier stuff. What I would call heavier stuff would be Tesseract, some 7-string and 8-string guitars that I don't play, but I totally admire and dig.
Right.
And then on my acoustic world, Andy McKee always sticks to me, and the Wootons, Victor and Reggie Wooten, they stick to me. And when I first saw Andy McKee, I was like, oh my gosh, you could do that with an acoustic. So my goal from there was figure out how he plays, make it my own way, and then add a vocal to it. How do I become that good and add a vocal?
Yeah, that guy's a freak, man.
Unreal.
So good.
Unreal. So that's the thing, there's some stuff where I can get pretty close to doing the finger tapping and sing at the same time in his style. But he never had a vocal on top of it. So, I kind of took some of his influence, and then, man, I listen to a ton of R&B. I listen to, I don't listen to a lot of country, even though I work in the mostly country artists. But the ones that I admire the most is like a Chris Stapleton, because his voice is soulful, and I can feel the emotion coming through his voice. And whenever I can feel an emotion coming through someone's voice, those are the artists that I really, from a vocal, those are the ones that I really admire and try to have as an influence of my own. Yeah,
man, definitely. Yeah, that Chris Stapleton's Traveler record, like, man, there's some good stuff on there for sure. He's one of the best.
Yeah, the thing that I love about his stylistic of records is everything is live tracked. I work in an industry, working with Pro Tools, and we're so spoiled by the ability to overdub and edit and move and shift things and auto-tune vocals and do all these things. But when you go in there with a band and you can live track it and it sounds on a record like everything is where it needs to be, and it's a song and it's complete, those are the artists that, as a musician, you have to admire, because that's what you want to get to. I don't want to be auto-tuned. I don't want to have to move my movements on my guitar whenever I track. I want to be able to sit down and track it and people go, that was amazing. Right. And even myself go, okay, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
You know, because you're your own biggest critic. You know?
Yeah. Well, and something about all that too, like guys like that, where it's, you know, you also have to be able to, you know, in order to really do this thing, is play live.
Yeah.
You know, like people, that's where, you know, most artists make their money, you know, or anything, like, is playing live. And like, if you create something incredible in the studio,
How do you replicate it?
yeah, right. It gets complicated trying to figure, unless you have 12-piece band or something like that, you know,
tracks.
So, yeah, or tracks and
A lot of bands do that.
right. So, but there's, you know, there's both worlds, both of it works. What, you know, but
Yeah.
but it's nice when you can see a band go on there completely do it live. And
Yeah, those are like, that sticks into me. That's the old school generation that is ingrained in me since my dad was a live musician. And it was always this thing, like he was always against any rap or hip hop because it was electronic sounds. There was never any real song, you know, any real instruments in it. So as you learn, even in my industry, like you can get some great tones out of digital stuff. There's nothing like the energy of a real track,
Right.
You know, something that we normally hit record on practice tracks because I'll get a better take out of you whenever you don't even know that the red light's on.
Yeah.
You know, and you give me your soul and you give me your emotion and you give me the character that this song requires. Then I turn on the red light and you're, don't really know how to sing this now.
Yeah.
You know,
That's happened so much, even just doing this podcast. Like, there's so many people, once I will be hanging out talking just fine, and then as soon as I say, all right, here we go, and like everybody just clams up.
Yep.
So it happens a lot.
Red light special.
That's kind of why I like Chris Hardwick, he was doing the Nerdist podcast. Now it's ID10T, but that's like, there's a lot of times if you listen to his show, he doesn't even tell them, like they just like sit down, and I mean, obviously the mics are there, I guess, but like, you know, there was usually like 20 minutes into the show, like, are we recording? And they're like,
When we started.
yeah, right, yeah, we're almost halfway done now, you know, it's
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. Like, so I wish I could have that kind of approach, like where I could just like press record as soon as I walk in, and
Yeah.
because there's so much, you know, people, they just kind of freak out once they know that's being recorded.
Yeah. You move, you know, you set your studio up everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for that catch you environment, you know.
Right.
But one of these days, man,
Yeah, one of these days.
you'll get there.
Yep. Well, I guess your dad never listened to the Roots then, huh? Full band hip hop there with those guys.
He might have. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I say that, but I've heard stories because, like I said, he passed when I was young.
Yeah.
That he was actually a bass player in a reggae band.
Okay.
So I don't think he was against the music. I think he
Sure.
was against the electronic
I
side
get
of it.
I get it. I mean, like I feel the same way. Like it does nothing for me to go watch some rapper, you know, performing live over his own tracks or whatever.
Yeah, just doing vocals and then it's
Yeah.
out of pitch and
Yeah,
they're
I
trying
just-
to go through auto-tune through the board and it doesn't work.
It just doesn't really do it for me. But
Yeah.
some people love it, and I just don't. I don't get into it.
Well-
but a group like the Roots, like I was saying, like you got full band.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, and they're some of the greatest musicians. and
I love
like,
them.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it, dude.
Yeah.
I like Snarky Puppy.
Yeah.
You know Snarky Puppy?
Yeah.
I love all music, you know, and if it's live and real, I love it even more.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, man. So dad played a little everything.
Dad was a guitar player, mostly in country rock. His band's called Two Lane Highway. They're still around today. They were mostly covers. Now, he met my mom in California when he was in the Navy, and he had a band called Country Kings out there, and they were like one of the only country bands out in California in the 80s, you know. So they were pretty popular around there, had a record label deal, stuff like that. And then they moved to Tennessee, Nashville to work that out, and never really did anything with it. So he went to work for McDonnell Douglas at the time and had kids and got married and then just played covers on the side, you know, when he could. But, you know, I respect cover bands because I know how much work it takes to do it, but everybody asks me if I'll ever do any covers, and the answer is no. Just because I've always had this mentality personally, like as an artist, if I'm having to do somebody else's song, then I'm giving up on what I'm trying to accomplish. But that could be my own snobbish thought process.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's like, I feel like everybody does covers. Like,
Yeah.
even, you know, I've seen like Maroon 5 cover Prince and whatever,
Yeah.
like or a lot of bands, like, even though they have play a whole night of their own stuff, but they still like to pay tribute to
the song.
to some of their heroes and stuff like that. And
I get it. I'm not against it.
Right.
If I was to do a cover song, I would want to do it in my own way.
right, and I think that's the biggest thing is like, don't do it like the recording, because everybody knows that recording.
Yeah.
Bring something new to it, and like twist it up, do some kind of make it your own, because
Yeah.
like, if I want to listen to that version of it, I'll just go listen to that version of
Right.
it. So it's like,
Why do I want to listen to you sing? it?
yeah, but there is something about, like, I do like when I go see a cover, or somebody playing in a bar and doing covers, and then they can drop in their own song.
Yes.
And then they're like, who was that? And they're like, oh, that's mine. It's like, people don't, they just assumed it was right there.
Another big hit.
Yeah, another, so they don't even know the difference and stuff. And like, when you know your own voice so well, like, you can blend it in with everything else that's
Yeah.
people know and stuff. And
That's one thing. I went and saw Jonathan Brady Band. Speaking to him earlier, I went and saw him Skanksgiving, the night before Thanksgiving at Hub's Pub. And I videoed him live at a couple shows and stuff like that. But that was the first night I got to go and actually enjoy myself. And dude, he's able to perform the covers. The band's able to perform.
Yeah.
I don't hate myself for being there, so I enjoy it. And then whenever he plays his own song, now I'm a fan,
Sure.
right? Because I know those songs,
Yeah.
But there are some great cover bands out there. There are great bands out there. I just get into this habit where I walk into it sometimes and they're not good, and then I just hate my life. So I end up I gotta go, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, nothing against anybody
Sure.
here, but
Well, there's the case too where a lot of those cover bands play a lot of the same songs, and it's like songs that have been beat to death for years and years
Yeah.
already. And it's like, some people still love them, but like, I've heard, I don't care to ever hear "Smell Like Teen Spirit" or
Free Bird.
Enter Sandman, or like, there's a lot of these like songs that like I've just heard way too much. Like, as soon as they come on my radio, I'd change the channel, and like, I'm like,
Yeah, you get oversaturated.
right.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's fun, like, they'll surprise you with something that you haven't heard in forever, and that's always nice too. But
Yeah.
I know a couple bands like that have like that do covers, but like their vocalists, like I know like guys in Breakdown Shakedown, who they all veterans of the music scene and things, and they do this because they can make pretty good money doing it.
Absolutely.
But their vocalist Jay's got like a higher range voice where he's able to do like stuff like Maroon 5 or Bruno Mars and different things, like pull off songs that a lot of people can't, because he has that vocal
He's
range.
got the ability to do it. Yeah.
But so it's like some people just don't have the pipes to
Yeah.
get some of that higher stuff like that and do it right. So,
Yeah. That's another thing. Probably why I don't do covers is I feel like my voice is from my own music, and
Sure.
it's hard for me to sing somebody else's stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a harmonizer. So like the other song that we did, Something Better today, that song is literally essentially about me, never feeling like I'm good enough as a writer. And then, as a vocalist, there's times whenever artists come through and record and they need background vocals, and I'm like, I would love to be able to do them for you, buddy, but I don't know the first thing about singing in harmony for somebody. Like, I'm gonna have to sing the lead. That's what I do. But there's some great people and singers out there that have the ability to be both the lead and come in and do harmonies on top of it. And that's, as a singer, that's something that I'm striving to get to.
Right.
I'm studying to get to that point. But that's probably why I don't do covers.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I don't think I can sound like that person.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I'm doing them a injustice. And
Yeah. I talked about it a lot, but like, I also like, like you're saying, how you bring in something your own to it, like how like Johnny Cash covered Nine Inch Nails,
Nine Inch Nails, yeah.
stuff like that. Like, doesn't sound anything like the original. Doesn't sound like but the lyrics take on a whole different meaning with Johnny singing it. You know, it's like he just totally has a
different perspective.
Yeah, so it's like there's something to that too. Like I said, that approach where you can completely own it as yourself and stuff. So
yeah, I agree.
But yeah, man. So let's drop in at Something Better. this also kind of features some of that tapping you're talking about, that Andy McKee, right? Was it in this one?
Not as much. Yeah, a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think was it or
I do a little bit of lead stuff on it.
Is it this or Not a Love Song? One of those that kind of features some of the little bit of the tapping.
Yeah, this one's a little bit.
Yeah.
Not like a couple of. I have another song that I didn't play that has a lot of
Right.
it. But this one does have a little bit of it.
Yeah, man.
You say you need a little something better. I guess that's alright by me, yeah. Just wait till I need to read this letter, 'cause I just cannot bear to see the look in your eyes tonight. As butterflies arise, then gently harmonize together. Help me to be a little something better, but do not tread on me, no. Just let me be free and untethered, 'cause I just cannot bear to see the look in your eyes tonight. As butterflies arise, then gently harmonize together. Maybe someday I'll be better, but not today. Oh no, not today. Maybe someday I'll learn to harmonize like the butterflies. Maybe someday I'll be better, but not today. Oh no, not today. Maybe someday I'll learn to harmonize like the butterfly. The butterflies.
Another one you're hoping to get out there soon?
Yeah, we've started the recording process, but it's like a mechanic doesn't work on his own car.
Yeah. I know that, man. I work my day job. I do custodial work, and so cleaning up after 900 kids every day. I don't really ever feel like going home
And dealing with the same thing.
clean my own house. But luckily, I'm not there very often for it to get too dirty. So, I know the feeling.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So again, you can find everything. You can find Seeing Seven on your Facebook and digitally everywhere. You can find BlueCreekProductions.com, you said?
Yeah, Blue Creek Production, no S.
Oh, no S.
BlueCreekProduction.com, or we're on Facebook.
Yeah.
I think we're on Instagram, probably.
And then everything.
And then my own stuff, just check me out on Facebook.
Yeah.
At Thomas Isaac Walton. I can't even say my own name. At Thomas Isaac Walton.
Yeah, man. Well, you, what, is there any, besides getting some more of these songs? I mean, like as far as goals for 2020, are you looking to put these out as a solo record or?
Yeah. So these ones here on my personal side is to get them kind of put out as singles and just try to see what they can do. If they get any traction, then I'll continue down my own path of maybe promoting to an album and working on it.
Was that a Pulse and
a Blindside?
Blindside, was that your first release as a solo artist, or did you do another?
That is my first release as Thomas Isaac Walton as a solo artist. Yeah, I did an album back in 2011 under just Thomas Isaac, and it was very early in my recording stages, and I pretty much did everything out of GarageBand and recorded vocals on my phone, and brought them in and edited them and did them, and then I mastered it in Apple Logic. So the overall quality isn't fantastic, but it's radio, and it's different. But that's just under Thomas Isaac. But a Pulse on a Blindside as a solo artist, as an acoustic player, and just as a singer-songwriter, I would say that's my first one.
Yeah. Nice, man. Well, hopefully we get that, maybe even just an EP or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Some kind of.
And then the Seeing Seven album, our fourth one, called World War IV. We're halfway through it. Our goal is to have it done this year, so that we can finally get it done for our own sakes, because we have 3 more albums after that to do. And then on top of that, just so we can get back working at it again, because we've kind of taken a break for our own live sakes of things that have going on. And I'm super excited about what we've written with it so far, and it's, in my opinion, the most epic album that we've written, and for rock people, it's gonna hopefully blow their minds.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, I was digging some of the other recordings that you guys had out there already, and so I'd be interested to hear what's next.
Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So get involved, and maybe you catch Thomas playing live somewhere.
Yeah, maybe
around town too.
Hopefully, if somebody requests me, I might.
Tell your
local coffee shop or winery, say, hey, bring this guy in for a couple hours.
Yeah, man. Well, buddy, this has been a lot of fun, man. I'm really glad this worked out.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I've been waiting for that 777, buddy.
Yeah, I've been trying.
I'm proud of you, man. I'm glad to see that number.
Thanks, man.
I got into it, I think, with the first Gabe one that you did is whenever I first got into it, because he shared it, and then I try to listen whenever I can.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. So it's I don't expect anybody to listen to every one of them, but I've been having a lot of fun recording them all, and it's for me, I think it's, let alone I get to learn, but I'm hoping other people are learning along the way with me. Like, and I know a lot of people, I feel like, listen to the ones with their friends, like I said with Gabe. And, but there are. I'm hoping people are taking a chance on other stuff and just discovering other new music in town and things.
And other artists, because, I mean, at the end of the day, all creatives, we all kind of think alike one way or another. So, I know there was a movement that I think We Are United that was started a long time ago that I was trying to get involved in, and I never saw any real traction happening there for a while.
It was a good idea. I was a part of like helping some of the stuff, and it just kind of fizzled like a lot of things to do. But
but really, I mean, if you can get to that level of people, especially in the creative industry, because there are a ton of musicians in this area, if you support each other and help each other get to that next level, both creatively and wherever you need to get to with the business aspect, just help people figure it out. I mean, everybody's gonna win,
right? Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. Like, supporting each other, and hopefully we'll all that's what I try to do with this show, like just trying to shine a light on the whole city. I mean, we're all pretty much St. Louis based on this show, but figure if one wins, we all win. It's like, so
well, I appreciate you having me on, man. I appreciate you doing it, and I know that the scene appreciates you. I know that for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, hopefully we'll get back together for the Seeing Seven release or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool.
Deep dive into the album or something.
Get the other guys in here and we'll give you a good time.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right. Well, that's episode 777.
7. Love it.
I'll see you, buddy.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone.